It's the end of the week and usually we'd be wrapping things up. However, there are three major stories that I want to throw in here before you get into your lovely weekends, and hopefully you'll be a bit better off. Three massive stories to share. Also, before I go any further, please check out the link in the description for a bunch of Black Friday deals ranging from Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. We've got links for them all. On with the news. First up then, Control Resonant. 3 years after Remedy mentioned a sequel to Control, MPFirst.com have spotted Control Resonant, registered in Europe. They state the product in question is classified under several tags, including video game services, miscellaneous products likely for marketing purposes, and the production of entertainment in the form of a TV series or cinematographic films. Fascinatingly, Remedy recently updated Control to unlock the frame rate and improve performance across the board. It was already one of the best games you can play, and I kind of can't believe that it's 6 years old. We'll just not talk about that. But easily one of the finest experiences Remedy have put together, a action-focused, telekinetic, powered-fueled third-person shooter with an incredibly detailed lore, a really cool general atmosphere, and awesome characters. I would recommend Control regardless, to be honest. But they did say back in 2022 that they will be doing a sequel, and we know as well that they've partnered with Annapurna to do a TV show or a movie or something in the Remedyverse, whether that's an Alan Wake project or a Max Payne project or a Control project or whatever. I think it's cool that they already have access to the live action versions of the different characters, like Jesse Faden or Alan Wake. Whether Sam Lake ends up playing Max Payne is another thing, because we also know that they're doing the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, but we haven't seen them just yet. It's worth saying that Remedy, alongside all the different things that they have, the different irons that they have in the fire, Remedy did recently report a loss of 16.4 million euros, which is around $19 million, for the third quarter 2025, following the disastrous response to the multiplayer shooter FBC Firebreak. Now, honestly, I never thought that was ever going to work. No one's really going to Remedy for first-person shooters, but, it didn't work whatsoever. So all eyes are on the Max Payne remakes, the next Control project. If anything else is happening with Alan Wake, Alan Wake 2 ends on a continuation, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but a continuation of where we're at. So they do have, like I said, a lot of irons in the fire, and you would hope that, they eventually get another win sooner rather than later. Next, Cyberpunk sequel. We don't know what the name of this thing is, and it has been officially reported a couple of different times, whether that's from Mike Pondsmith, the original author of Cyberpunk, or whether it's CDPR saying that they have, the Cyberpunk 2 sequel in motion. One of the recent financial reports from CDPR has confirmed that over 135 developers are now working directly on the sequel, and although it's not classified as being in full production, it's a lot more momentum in that direction than we've had before. Also, it was mentioned by Pondsmith that in Cyberpunk 2 there'll be an additional city to Night City, which he describes as Chicago gone wrong. He mentioned this back in May 2025, but it's been reiterated a couple of times across the year. Fans have then noticed that inside Cyberpunk 2077, and these billboards were there, for the last few years, there are advertisements in there saying that you can visit Chicago in 2080, which is a potential hint that maybe the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077 is Cyberpunk 2080. Cyberpunk in general, there are a bunch of specific books, like the rule books for how you play the tabletop pen and paper version of Cyberpunk, set in different years in the timeline. I think 2077 is the furthest point in the timeline so far. So it is interesting having Mike Pondsmith, the original author, on hand with CD Projekt Red to just scope out what's the next chapter or the interstitial chapters in the books, in the stuff that you've already written. I think having him on board means that, regardless of how disastrous Cyberpunk was back in 2020, the franchise is still in good hands. It's also worth saying that Cyberpunk these days is one of the most recommendable games you can play. Like, I absolutely love it. It is easily one of my games of the generation. Myself and Josh have recorded a Best Games of the Generation podcast that's going out next month across December, and I have Cyberpunk in there. I always was a big fan of it back at launch, but the various updates that it's had over the last few years, I think do genuinely elevate it in a more objective sense of like, okay, there is a ton of quality here. The game's not crashing anymore. Various different progression systems were completely overhauled, lots of new power-ups were put in there, and the game just runs a hell of a lot better. If you stick to next gen, which was the case at launch, but if you stick to next gen, play the PS5 version, the Series X version, something like that, if you're lucky enough to have a PC that can crank up all the textures, Cyberpunk is a very much a worthwhile experience, and that's all the raw tech side of it, alongside some immaculately written characters, a great sense of atmosphere, and a spectacular soundtrack. Like, There's a lot of great things to enjoy in Cyberpunk. Lastly, Destiny 3 is apparently in extremely early development. This comes from reputable leaker CultureDex. Now, this comes after so many people are abandoning Destiny, whether that's actual staff members leaving Bungie, whether that is Bungie's own internal financial reports and Sony saying that they didn't, meet expectations in regards to the acquisition from 2022. It's kind of crazy just how much of a rocky terrain Destiny has had for the last decade plus. There was initially meant to be a 10-year plan for the franchise, and obviously we got past that after 2024. But the most recent expansion, Edge of Fate, didn't go down very well with fans, and most people have actually turned to Destiny Rising, which is made by NetEase. It's a mobile game, but a lot of people are gravitating towards that because it doesn't have the sort of out-of-control lore and the bulk of the main timeline. It is a separate non-canon spin-off. And obviously you've got to put up with it playing on mobile, but it's quite telling that the Destiny fandom, who love the overall playability of Destiny, Bungie's gunplay is second to none, are ending up enjoying the side mode, the side game, and not the main thread, mainly just because of how weirdly handled a lot of the lore elements and soft reboot aspects of different characters leaving, dying, coming back, etc. have all been handled. Like I said, Sony bought them in 2022 for $3.6 billion. However, they have said that Bungie did not reach the expectations we had at the time of the acquisition, putting a lot of pressure on the next main installment for Destiny. However, until now, all that meant was additional expansions for Destiny 2. It's only been in the last few hours of just before I'm recording this, the CultureDex has got out there and said that Destiny 3 is in extremely early development, and that probably means that we're not getting the game for another 2, 3, or 5 years. At the minimum, I'd be surprised if it's even on PlayStation 5, if it ends up being a PlayStation exclusive, or whether it drops on PlayStation 6 or something like that. Either way, Destiny fans are finally being fed after many years of dealing with expansions and having to put up with a lot of different controversial aspects in regards to loot boxes, all the engram disputes. There's a lot of stuff. I've been covering the gaming industry for a decade plus professionally, more than that if you go back to different blogs and things like that. But the 2014 Destiny debacle leading into Destiny 2, trying to right the ship, trying to do right by everybody who always believed in the overall IP, has been one hell of a thing to watch roll out. Like, fans will remember the furore around the paid dance emotes back in the late 2010s. Like, it has been a hell of a time, but maybe Destiny 3 can finally bring things back around, even though, part of the wider conversation is that they should just have a Destiny platform. People just say, I'm playing some Destiny. Do you want to have a game of Destiny? It's strange that Destiny 2 became the main go-to game, and I guess they're going to try and do that again with another named installment. So yes, we have a handful of awesome, worthwhile stories to know about, so please let me know what you think down in the comments below, subscribe to the channel, and check out the Black Friday deal links in the description below.
Hey there folks, my name is Nathan Ellingsworth and I'm here to introduce you to CultureDex, a brand new channel in the What Culture family all about Pokémon. That's right, if you're a Don fan of these adorable pocket monsters, this channel is the place for you. Much like the other wonderful channels in the What Culture crew, we are making some fantastic videos covering lists, rankings, deep dives, reactions, and so much more. All about the absolutely massive world of Pokemon. Grab your Pokeballs and twist that hat backwards, because we're on a journey to be the very best Pokemon-focused channel on YouTube. No matter what you love disc about Pokemon, we'll be dipping our toes into every aspect of the franchise. From the games to the TCG, the movies, and beyond. Even that weird Japan-only game you think we don't know about, we're gonna talk about it. Plus, I'm not doing it alone. I'll be talking until we're Pokemon Red and Blue in the face with many of the familiar faces at What Culture that you already know. In fact, here are some of them now.
Hello everyone, it's me, the real Venomoth fan 1989, but you probably know me better as Cy, and I'm so glad to hear that What Culture have acquiesced to my request to make a channel all about Venomoth. It's about Pokemon. Yeah, that probably makes more sense.
Hey, I'm Tom, the What Culture Gaming Channel Manager, and I am well excited for CultureDex. Nathan will nail it. Nathan's a guy who looks a bit like a hench version of me who runs the channel, by the way, so don't get us mixed up.
I'm Dan Durkin, and you're telling me we finally have a Pokemon channel? CultureDex? Wow. What's a Pokemon?
If all of this Pokemon-powered nonsense sounds elite to you, please hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends like an Onyx wearing a metal coat, and check out all of the social links in the description to stay up to date with all of the latest Pokemon news. Thanks for watching, trainers, and we can't wait to talk Pokemon with all of you.